Right here and right now, let us embrace that we are the face of God. I invite you to gently lower your eyes or close them. We are invoking right here and right now our awareness of this beautiful center, the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, and all the contents that make up today's service. Our beautiful songbirds, our inspirational speaker, Reverend Don, the sound team, our greeter, Judy, Robert, who's holding the presents, and you, who have said yes to participating, whether in person or online. We invoke a shift. We are pivoting to sup with the divine. What a glorious thing to know, experience, and say yes to. From this space and place of deep gratitude, we release it to a working law that always says yes, and together we say, and so it is. I have a candle lighter who's coming up. This part of our service, we are lighting the flames of oneness. Susan. We are an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. So we open today's Sunday service at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living with lighting the flames of oneness. Our first candle is the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Our second candle is the shamanic traditions, honoring the belief and practices of all indigenous people, the way of pristine spirituality. Next is Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as a path of pure love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. Our final candle is the healing candle of pure love. I invite you right here and right now to lower your eyes or close them. Tap into your breath, the stillness of this moment and your mind, and bring into awareness any person, place, thing, circumstance, or unfoldment that you want to embrace and call forth in the healing flame of love and light. We breathe that in, and we release. Now that all of our flames of faith are fully lit, we move into today's service, recognizing and realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. Join me in reading together our purpose statement. Our purpose:
awaken and inspire love and oneness.
Vision:
We are an empowered, uplifting, inclusive community.
and our mission:
To teach spiritual transformation with grace and joy.
with joy. So today's sacred reading comes from the Science Mind magazine, 97 years in print. Woo! By our founder. It can be purchased at Barnes & Nobles or online. It's just an awesome publication. I can't say enough about it. It's got all kinds of inspirational content. So today, there's a daily guide for every day. Today, the guide says, ask and ask again. Ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. Say that with me. Ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. That is by Maya Angelou, the famous poet, philosopher. This is by Ernest Holmes, our founder. When we ask for something, when we ask for anything, we are to believe that we have it. But we are to ask for that which is in unity with life And that comes from the Science Mind textbook. While out to dinner, a friend asked if she could have her chicken warmed up on her barbecue chicken salad. No, replied the server. He didn't say, sorry, it's against our company policy, nor usually, but let me look into it, or the most customer-centric answer we would like, of course, we can do that for you. His reply was clear, no. So she asked the question again, and the reply was still no. She rehearsed the question and asked a third time. Finally, seeing that my friend was not going to take no for an answer, the waiter asked another employee who said, sure, I can do that. What fascinates me more than the disturbing lack of customer service was my friend's persistence in asking for what she wanted 3 times. She was never rude or arrogant, but polite and consistent in her asking. She was clear about what she wanted. Wayne Dyer said, we are divine enough to ask, important enough to receive. This is the great reminder to continue to ask. It may not happen the first time or the second time, but we should continue to ask with a quiet expectancy. All that we desire is already available to us. Our task is to be willing to receive graciously and lovingly. This is a simple yet powerful reminder of what is available to us every day. So that great quote from the Bible, Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find it. Knock and the door will be open. So repeat after me. I accept that whatever I ask for is already known in the mind of God. And so it is. So now more special music. To take that in, just close your eyes. feel that song and its vibration and repeat after me. I have the power
I have the power
to change my life.
to change my life.
Woo! Let's give it up for our songbirds. If you would like to join the flock, see Aaron, or just give them lots of praise afterwards, because we really appreciate the music. That is another way of our ministry. I'm Christina, one of the many licensed practitioners here at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, and our biggest foundational piece, despite the building classes, is prayer. So we are here to pray it up under all conditions at all times. And at this time, I would like my fellow colleagues to stand. We have Rev Don, we have Ann, we have Bob, we have Judy, we have Robert holding the presents, we have myself. And we are here today to do 1-minute miracles after service, if you'd like. Another form is, you can fill out the form, just fill it out, put it in the box, we will receive it and pray upon it. The other way is to go online. Really, we host most of the content about what happens here online. And there you can put in one prayer request or many. All prayer requests in whatever form are confidential. I also like to let you know that right now we're streaming live from Facebook. That's the platform in which we do our Sunday service. But if you miss the service or want to see it again in its full capacity, you can go on to YouTube and simply type in the search engine Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, and that service comes up. Is there anybody who feels comfortable, I don't see anybody, but I'll ask, that is new for the first time? Because if you are, we have a welcome packet. Okay. We're all among friends and family today. One of the best ways to find out what's happening on a lot of levels, whether it's a class, a book study, what have you, is our newsletter. Again, online. Repeat after me. It's all online. And just subscribe. So something that's coming up in beginning soon is going to be a book study written by one of our own. She's no longer with us here physically because she moved out of state. But Reverend Rachel Hollander wrote a book. Wonderful practitioner, minister, and it is called From There to Here. It's a book. It's a hard subject, but it's a worthy subject, one that Ann Lazenby, another minister, will be teaching online. So it's a book study. All are welcome. This is the book. We'll have information on where you can get it. But really the center of it is about depression. Whether you have depression or you're curious about depression or someone in your family. It's a big topic. It's got a lot of moving legs. So we invite you to be part of this great book study if it works within your schedule. So more coming out about that. Also, we're priming the pump for I know these are moving quickly. So we have on a monthly basis, the first and third Saturday of each month is what we call Oneness Prayer Meditation. It starts at 10 a.m. All the details about it are on our website, the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. We also offer visioning for inner peace once a month on the first Wednesday of each month. That's done by the phone, very old-fashioned, 7 o'clock. You just pump in the number and the code and you join us. The other thing that we are going to be kicking off at the end of the month, Sunday, January 30th, is our Season for Peace. Our Season for Peace is something we've been doing since 2007. It's 64 days. There's a rack card in the back. You can pick it up and explore all the options. We're going to be teaching a really wonderful class. If you have taken it, raise your hand. Meditation is more than you think. Woohoo! We have some takers here. If you want to retake the class, it's at a reduced fee. It'll be online. We are going to be teaching the class provided we have 8+ students. It's going to be held on Saturday. Going to be like little mini retreats every Saturday for the kicking off the last Saturday in January, all of the Saturdays in February, and the first Saturday in March. So 6 Saturdays. We'll be engaged in a variety of meditation. And if you're curious, meditation is a broad expression. It comes with a lot of different forms. So I invite you to really seriously think about it and join us. More details are coming out, and that's how that class is going to be operating. I think I've covered all of the announcements. I do want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for being part of today, and I want to invite you to join me in praying up our world. If your life is going groovy, fantastic. But everybody is qualified to pray, not just the minister or the practitioners or the students who are taking prac classes. So let us pray it up and know the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, that our world is working for everyone, that it's healthy, and 2022 is a bright new year. Thank you. Do better than that. Let's give it up for the music department. Before Reverend Don comes up, well, part of our plan is to give you a little bit more information about somebody you think you know. So Reverend Don is a dog lover, him and Ann. They've had dogs their entire relationship. They currently have a dog, Joy. Reverend Don and Ann did some ski juring with 2 previous dogs before Joy. And it was very interesting to hear Reverend Don say that the dog that was committed to Ann when they went ski juring really committed to him. So they had this little interplay of switching dogs. But the big part that I want to share about you is he was telling me when he adopted a dog to their family, it was as rigorous as adopting a child. And he knew this firsthand because he had a sister-in-law that was adopting a child. He was studying science of mind. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is he was in this philosophy, thinking about it. He calls on this dog, Friends of Pets. He sees in the newspaper, that was back in the day when people got it, and there was an announcement. And the woman on the phone said that she had received 300 calls just on this dog alone. But through their conversation, Reverend Don and her had a waha, and he became the candidate. They did all the procedures to adopt the dog, and it became part of their family. So I just want to share with you these little anecdotes about the people who are inspiring us each week. So now let us welcome Reverend Don.
Well, thank you, Christina. I hate having things be about me. I hate being the center of attention. So when she forgot to do the introduction, I thought, oh, I'm home free. And then she jumped up before I could get up here. A lady by the name of Diane Stark of Brazil, Indiana, that is, told a fascinating story. I titled the story, Help All Along. And when her son was 6, he was having a lot of trouble in school. He couldn't keep up. And he wasn't understanding things. And the class was moving on without him. And it was really a difficult time. And his mom, Diane, could tell that he was struggling, but it really came to a head when she got a note from his teacher detailing how far behind he was sliding. And so she did what many of us would do. She got online and she started Googling different learning styles and what the problems could be, and everything from dyslexia to you name it. All of the things, and she worked on this, and she was trying to self-diagnose her son's problems, and she prayed, but nothing seemed to change. He just continued to fall further and further behind, and she was really, really worried about it. And then one day, she was down in the basement doing laundry, and she heard her little boy shout down and say, "Mommy, I can't find my dinosaur jammies." And those were his favorite pajamas. And so she shouted back and she says, "They're in the dryer, but they'll be done in a minute. I'll bring them up." And sure enough, the cycle finished and the load was dry, and she folded the clothes and she carefully put his dinosaur jammies on the top, and she went up the stairs only to find him sitting on the end of his bed sobbing in tears. And she said, "What's the matter, dear?" And he said, "I asked for your help and you never answered me. And I didn't think I was ever going to do it." And she said, No, it's okay. Here's your dinosaur jammies, and they're fresh out of the dryer. They're still warm." And with that, he broke into a grin. And I had to write this down because I wanted to get it right. And what he said to her was, "I should have known that you would help me because you always have." Well, about that time, she decided that maybe what the best approach would be to try and help him herself after school. And so she gave up her internet searches, and she gave up trying to diagnose his learning disabilities herself, and she just started trying to help him. And the light bulb started to glow a little brighter, and he started picking things up, and he started catching up. And by the end of the school year, he had caught up with the rest of his class. But that statement that he had made, "I should have known that you would help me because you always have," stuck with her. And as she thought back about it, and she thought back about her prayers, she realized she could have trusted that divine creative process to help her. It always has. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you for those of you who have braved the elements and been here today. We're in a relative heat wave. I think it was 3 this morning at my house. Oh, how great it is. Surprised Bob's not in his t-shirt again. Welcome, and thank you for being here, and thank you for inviting us into your home on this day. It's indeed an honor. So thank you very much and welcome. The title of my talk today is How I Got This Way. And I have to confess, I robbed that from one of my favorite authors. His name is Patrick McManus, and one of his books is entitled How I Got This Way, and it's not about science of mind. It's about his adventures as a little kid growing up and all of the things that he did, miraculously surviving youth to become an adult. And it's a very humorous collection of books. But the principle behind it is very, very science of mind, and how we think and what we put forth into the universe is how we got this way. 3 major points today I want to talk about. First of all, the divine creative process. Secondly, the power of prayer. And thirdly, for a spiritual practice, we're going to talk about meditation. Now, this is the second in a 5-part series. I call it Back to Basics. And last week we talked about how God is all there is. And we talked a little bit about the nature of God or Spirit or the thing itself, whatever name you choose to assign to your higher power or higher power as you see it. We tried to look at what it is like and whatnot, and we came kind of to the conclusion that it may have a triune nature. That is 3 parts, like a milk stool. It has 3 legs. And we looked how that can be spirit and soul and body. We're going to look at that a little bit deeper now with the divine creative force. This divine creative force, whatever name you choose to assign to it, is creative in nature, and it created all of everything. From the tiniest subatomic particle, quark, to the atoms, to the molecules, to life as we know it, DNA, to the farthest away giant galaxy. We talked how they oriented the Hubble telescope to one of the darkest places in the entire sky and found 22 galaxies that they had never seen before. Infinite. And this creative force made everything. Well, how did this creative force make everything? It didn't have anything to start with. So the only thing that it had that it could make, the heavens and the earth and everything below it and above it, is itself. That the divine creative process created all this from its basic self. So all of this, every animal, every plant, every person is made from the same thing that has created this divine creative force. So, in other words, we all have within us the DNA of the divine. Every one of us are created from God's stuff. Therefore, we must all be creative. We all have a creative nature to us. I came across a story many years ago. I'll share it with you. And it was supposedly a scientist who was talking with God. And the scientist was bragging about how modern man has solved all of these problems and why modern science can take care of anything, can do anything. And so God kind of jokingly challenged the scientist and said, well, I don't think you've got quite everything all the way yet, mister, but it's okay if you want to believe that. And I said, oh yeah, we can do anything. And God says, well, I really don't think you can create man, for example. And the scientist, well, sure, of course we can create man. We can create, DNA, we can do this, a petri dish. We absolutely, we can create man. And so God says, well, let's see you do this. And he reached down and he picked up a handful of dirt, and with clay he made a man. And the scientist says, well, sure, we can do that. And he reached down and he picked up a handful of dirt, and at that point God said, hey, wait a minute, get your own dirt. And I think that's the kind of the point, is that something had to come from something in the beginning, and that infinite presence is what we recognize. Another story. This is a lady by the name of Jeannie Hughes, and she's a hurricane. Comes from Hurricane, West Virginia. She starts her story talking about hearing the back door to the house rattle. It had been locked, and she realized it was her mom, and her mom was trying to get out, and mom then shouted, let me get out of here, let me go. And she had to explain to mom that she couldn't go outside. She had moved in with mom 5 months earlier. Mom had fairly rapidly progressing dementia, and what she wanted to do was go out and check the mail. And so what Jeannie had to do was explain to her mom, we already went out and got the mail this morning. We got the mail about 11 o'clock this morning. And you've gone back out 4 times this afternoon to check in case the mailman came back. But it's dark out now, and the mailman isn't coming back today. So let's go in and have supper. And finally, mom relented, and they went back in and had supper. And as she got ready to go to bed that night, she laid her head on a pillow, and mom was softly snoring in her room, and she just felt overwhelmed. She can't keep going on like this. It's just too much. And at that point, once again, I had to write it down. I wanted to get it right. She uttered kind of a prayer. This is what she said. Lord, I feel as if I have no help here. I can't do this on my own. She confessed later that it felt more like a complaint than a prayer. But she drifted off to sleep. She woke up in the morning. It was a beautiful sunny day. The sun was shining in through the window and revealing all the dust on her nightstand. Another household chore that had been put off and ignored because she needed to take care of mom. And she was really feeling down, and then her phone buzzed. And she looked down at the caller ID, and it was her good friend Kim. And she thought, God, if only, I could have some time with my friend Kim again and maybe go to lunch or something. I'll bet she's calling to go to lunch. And so she answered the phone. But instead of asking her to lunch, what Kim said was, I got this really strong urge to call you today and ask you if I could bring you dinner tonight. She said, I can whip up a casserole pretty quick. It'd be good for you and mom, and give you a night away from the stove and a night away from cooking. Well, Jeannie accepted right away, and Kim continued to provide meals for a couple of weeks, almost every night for her. And she realized what a great respite that had been for her, and it renewed her spirit and realized that she could go on and she could do this. She loved her mother so very much, and it became more of pleasure to her again of helping her mom. That divine presence is always with us and is always working for us if we only allow it to. Secondly, I'm going to talk about, my second point is the power of prayer. It would be easy to fall into the trap at this point and cite all the studies and everything else, but I'll just trust you to take my word for it that there have been sufficient reproducible double-blind studies showing that prayer actually works. It's irrefutable. We know that prayer actually works. Now, I personally believe, it's my own personal belief, that affirmative prayer is more effective than the things that I used to do. My favorites were begging, oh, please, God. Or another favorite of mine was bartering. Oh, God, if you'll just get me out of this mess, I promise I won't do that again. Or beseeching. Oh, God, I beseech thee to take care of me. Affirmative prayer is what we use. And if you remember from last week when we talked about that divine creative process where we have spirit, which can be likened to a seed. It's the spoken word. It's our feelings, give impetus to it. Our thoughts are all part of that seed. And we put those into a creative medium, that part of God that creates. And the net result is the plant, seed, soil, plant. Our method of affirmative prayer is very similar to that. We have 5 steps, and the first step is what we call recognition. And this isn't intended to be substitute for a class. We have an entire class called The Power of Your Word. This is just to give you a broad overview. But we have the first step, we call it recognition, and in recognition we recognize that God is all there is, and that God is infinite in every direction. God is all powerful. And then we have a step, second step is called unification. That's where we realize that connection that we have with the infinite. We recognize that we are made of that God stuff. Third one is third step is realization, and it is in realization that we recognize that which is our desire. And we make sure that what we are asking for, what we are opening ourselves up to, is in alignment with the highest good for everyone involved. And then we step back. We just give thanks. And I really think the step of thanksgiving is important because it implies that it's already so and we're already accepting it. We give thanks and then we step out of it. Just like, got my characters mixed up. Diane Stark of Brazil, Indiana, realized that when she could step back and she didn't have to do all of the analysis for her own son and let it go. So we just let it go, we let it be, and we can count on it manifesting. I was reviewing some of my notes from my original foundations class with Reverend Nancy way back in the day. And I would love to attribute this to somebody, whether it's Reverend Nancy or Jerry or, I don't know, Ernest Holmes. I don't know where it came from, but it was written in my notebook, and it is so fitting for today. When our thoughts and desires are coupled with belief, faith, and acceptance, the physical outcome is inevitable. My last story, excuse me just a moment. I'll wet my whistle here. Mary Ann Adams, West Sparta, New York. Opened her newspaper one day and she was so happy because she saw her husband's name in the paper. No, he wasn't arrested or anything. Her husband and some of his friends had got together, and there was a park in West Sparta, New York, that had been neglected, almost abandoned, and it had a tennis court in it that had all fallen to shambles and everything else. And he and his buddies all got together and they cleaned up this tennis court. And they started a game. They had learned about it elsewhere. They didn't start the game. It's called pickleball. I'd never heard of pickleball, but they started a pickleball league, and there was an article in the paper about the pickleball league and what these gentlemen had done to resurrect their park and make everything nice and start this pickleball league. Well, her husband's name was a little unusual. It was Adlai. And as soon as she saw it in the paper, she ran into him, and he looked at the article and said, "Oh, that's great, they even spelled my name right. Adlai." And she thought back, and she thought how much they enjoyed doing outdoor things and being out in nature and being active and whatnot. And then with almost dread, she realized that they had an anniversary coming up. They had been married 18 years. And in their 14th year, they had gone on a trip, a hiking, camping trip. It was one of their favorite things to do. And another thing that they had done is for holidays and anniversaries and those kinds of things, rather than exchange gifts, they would write love letters to each other. And she had this really nice leather-bound journal, and she would write her love letters in there. And Adlai would write his, and she would keep them together and put them in this leather-bound journal. Well, on this 14th wedding anniversary, they went on this camping / hiking adventure, and they got to their favorite place, and it was campsite number 9 at this particular campground in the Adirondacks. And they went out on their hike, and they had this really great day and got back to their camp only to find a bear had gotten into their camp and had shredded their tent, their sleeping bags. And I will confess, she did reveal a tad bit of rookie mistake. I don't think Alaskans would make this mistake. Ann guessed it right off the bat. The cooler, yes. They left their food in a cooler, and of course the bear got everything. But also what was gone was 14 years of love letters in the leather-bound journal. And they looked and they looked, and they couldn't find it. They even took extra time and looked. They even came back to that campground and got space number 9 and continued to look in ever widening circles, and they looked and looked and looked. But she finally had to face the fact that it may be gone. But what she did was she just opened herself up, and she said a prayer that she could be reunited with that leather-bound journal. One day she got home, and there was her husband, Adlai, on the front porch step with another couple. And there was a car parked in front of the house. And she didn't know who these people were. She got out of her car, and Adlai shouted out, "Oh my God, Mary Ann, you won't believe this." And he held up, and there was the leather-bound journal. Because of the article in the paper, these people had seen that and saw the name Adlai and realized that there weren't a whole lot of men out there named Adlai. They had been to that campground in space number 9 earlier that year and had been poking around, and underneath some leaves and some other things, they found the not worse for wear leather-bound journal. But they couldn't find anybody. They didn't know who to give it to. The love letters in there were so touching that the lady in the couple was just, she felt that they had to find what it was. But when they saw the article on the pickleball league, they figured there can't, and so then she did a little bit of internet search of her own, looked down and saw that the wife's name was Mary Ann, and realized how many Adlais are married to a Mary Ann. It's got to be the right couple. And Mary Ann became reunited with her leather-bound journal. Once again, That infinite force is always with us. And when we open ourselves up to that help and we let go of our own need to control, then our wishes, our desires are given to us. They're manifest. It's the seed soil plant. We set the seed of that desire. We turn it over to a power greater than we are. That part of God that is the creative medium. And then we just step back and enjoy the outward manifestation. The third point today, the spiritual practice, is that of meditation. And just like spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, I'm not here to give you a class in meditation. So what I decided to do to see what Ernest Holmes said about meditation, and this comes from the Science of Mind textbook, the glossary, definition of meditation. Holmes says, the general acceptance of the term meditation is contemplation or continuous thought. But we mean to convey something more. The recognition of the Father within, the certainty of our oneness with the whole, the immediate availability of the power and wisdom resulting from this oneness. Such communion with God brings harmony into our lives and affairs, establishes the law of health and prosperity, and makes us a light to all who cross our pathway. And I would really encourage you to explore this topic of meditation. And it's no coincidence we happen to be offering a class in meditation right now, and I would highly encourage anyone to take that class. Christina won't blow her own horn, but Christina and Karen have put on an awesome class. They did it the year of COVID, and they had to shut it down from meeting in person to going online, and they created this awesome class, and I would really advise anyone to do it. In fact, I am so committed to this. I am so certain that anyone can benefit, can profit from this class. I do not want to see anyone fail to take this class for any reason, particularly finance. If you don't have I don't know what the fee is, $245. If you don't have the $245 to take this class, see me. Get a hold of me. We will find a way. We have people who have taken these classes, who have benefited from the classes, and they know what the power of this is, and they will contribute to help you along the way. So I really encourage everyone to take this class. Meditation is more than you think. Who can forget that class with, I'm trying to think who all was in it, but I remember Zoe and Adam and Heather, all of us on the stage doing a laughing meditation. Conclusion, the thing that I want you to take away today, and this is from Meister Eckhart. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. And so with this awareness of prayer, this awareness of the power of prayer, I invite my colleagues, the practitioners, to join me in affirmative prayer, and anyone else to join me in absolutely knowing that there is indeed a power in the universe. One power, one presence, one life. And that life is the life of God, and that is the life of each and every one of us. And that life is perfect. It is perfect in every way. Even in the things that appear to be less than perfect, the things that appear to be discord, the things that appear to be dis-ease. These are all appearances. And behind these appearances, there is a spiritual truth for that which is greater. That within each of us, in spite of whatever dis-ease may make its appearance, there is that part of us that is perfect. There is that part of us that knows. And even though I may not know, there is that part of me that does know. And it is that knowing that we recognize that we are greater than any disease. It's not how we handle, it's how we react to the disease. It's not the disease itself. It's not lack and limitation. That exists in this world, absolutely. But we are greater than that. And we live in an abundant universe. And as we turn our attention to that abundance, to that prosperity, we can step away from lack and limitation and not enoughness. And finally, I speak my word for those who are experiencing separation. Separation from one another in relationships of all kinds. An even greater, a feeling of sense of separation from the divine. Separation from that higher power. For we can never be separate. We can never be separate from our higher power because it resides within us. And we can never be totally separate from one another because we are all made of the same God stuff. And so we look beyond our differences. We look beyond the appearance of separation, and we know that God is love. And we are all children of the Most High. We are all beings of love. And so we just give thanks. We give thanks for our awareness of that power and that presence in our lives. We step back. We let it go. We release our need to do anything. We let that divine current flow through us on and out. And so it is. Yes, indeed, we all have the power to love. Thank you so much, choir, every one of you. Aaron, you're awesome. Thank you so much. This is the time in the service where we are afforded the opportunity to participate in another spiritual practice, that being the law of circulation. Like to recognize some of the people that we have online today, and this is just some of the people. Joan Heidel, Pam Bowman, Lynn and Marion, Luann, Michelle Koontz, Judith Mack, Des DeCedra, I don't know her, Gina Denlow. See, we get more people that I don't know. I know that it is a lot easier to stay at home on these days when we have 3 degrees out there, and what was the wind? 13? It's not enough to blow you over, but it's enough to just freeze you. So I can see. I don't know if I'd be at home in my warmth or not. But I would really encourage you to come, to listen to our choir. We do a great job with the sound. We've got good microphones, a soundboard. Our sound team does an excellent job. But boy, it is hard to beat being here and experiencing our choir. So thank you guys, and I hope everyone can come, those in computer land. Okay, I've done all that I can do. All right, let's do this. Join me in our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Our thoughts are praise, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are praise. Be careful what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer. Our thoughts are praise, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are praise. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer.
All right, this is the moment in our service where we come to a close. Thank you for being present. I want to invite you once again to lower your eyes or close them as we have our benediction. So we simply give thanks. Give thanks for all that's been revealed, healed, exposed, explored, enlightened. We give thanks for the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living and all that it offers today. We give thanks for ourselves for saying yes as we move forward to know that truly our lives are prayer, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We step into the realm of infinite possibilities, not only for ourselves, but for everyone. So we release this to the divine working of law and know that we've been altered and changed, refreshed, as we move into what comes next and into the week and months and days ahead. Because we believe that there's only one power, one life, one heartbeat, one humanity. And for this and all the answered prayers, we give deep thanks. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste.